Good evening for all of us. We're on the same
Good evening.
side
Thank
of the
you.
globe. We are the same side of the globe. It happens. I'm here tonight. This is TMS Roundtable Global. My name is Dr. Tovah Goldfein. I'm streaming live from Israel. It's 2100. It's 9 o'clock. Ozzie is in Turkey.
Yes.
Which is, it's 9 o'clock for you.
The same time, yeah.
Yeah. And Robert is in the UK, and it's 2 hours behind. Mm-hmm. And I'm hoping to reach some people in America where it's about it's minus 7 hours. It's about 2 p.m. It's about 11 a.m. in California, and this will be on our YouTube channel, and so people can see it and learn and be inspired and be educated, because that's exactly what happened here. This is a story. Rose in heaven, listen to this story. Rob contacts me like 6 months ago and says, I think you're going to want to know this story, Tovah. You seem to be out there with healing. I think you're going to want to know my story. I'm writing a book. Do you want to read it? And I'm like, I don't just want to read your book. I want you on my show. And he was like, I don't think you realized that, Rob. And you were like, okay. I don't think that you thought that. You wanted to give me.
I knew you had a show. I mean, that was kind of in the back of my mind.
Yeah. Okay. So that was the first thing I wanted, because I just want to share the joy and grace the world with healing and how people can heal themselves. So Rob's book was not published yet, but he sent it to me. I scheduled a show, and he had an incredible story about ankylosing spondylitis and IBS symptoms and other autoimmune symptoms, and he's going to share his story in a minute, his short version, because we had an amazing show a few months ago, and that was outstanding. I remember it was a very good show, well attended. And Ozzie from Turkey, out of nowhere, we don't know anyone. We don't know Ozzie. Rob doesn't know Ozzie. Thank you, the internet. Thank you, God. Ozzie sees the show from TMS Roundtable YouTube. He sees the show. He contacts Rob in Britain because Ozzie's got an autoimmune disease that's killing him slowly. He contacts Rob, does some therapy, some outstanding work with Rob, and he's in recovery from his symptoms. And then he puts on a story on TMS Wiki, and I didn't see that, but then Rob contacts me, and he's like, Tovah, you got to meet this guy, Ozzie. And here we are. What could be more amazing than a YouTube healing, recovery, integrating, trusting your body, knowing that your body, you're not a victim of a disease, that you can heal. And here it is in this virtual studio, and I am one blessed woman. So first I want Rob just to chat for a minute about, just give us the short version of your story if you can.
Yeah, it is a very long, complicated story, so I'll do my best. But basically, since childhood, I had food intolerances, hip and back pain, and other symptoms that gradually got worse. But it didn't get really bad until February 2019, when I just finished writing a novel. My back hurt terribly getting out of a chair. The pain persisted for weeks. I went to see an osteopath. She thought I had ankylosing spondylitis. Symptoms seemed to match, so I kind of agreed with that. And I went down the diet approach for autoimmune diseases, and didn't really go to the doctor at that point. And with the diet approach, they basically they hold out hope for recovery. They're success stories, whereas the doctors were just telling me, this is incurable. So
that's what they said to you. They said ankylosing spondylitis, it's incurable.
Well, they didn't say that to me, but when you look this, they thought I had autoimmune disease, and then when you look it up, it's on Wikipedia and everything, everyone says it's incurable. Right. So basically, it led to an unhealthy obsession with food, this diet, because I got some relief from dropping lactose and dairy. that got me some relief from my symptoms. But then overall, I got worse. There was diminishing returns. I would keep dropping a new food group. I'd drop gluten. I'd drop starch and feel better. But then the overall trajectory was decline. I was getting more and more symptoms over time. The full symptom list is huge. I mean, just to give people an idea of how bad I was, what a mess I was. Severe chronic back and hip pain, chest pain, shortness of breath, anxiety, depression, gingivitis, insomnia, frequent urination, wisdom tooth infections, gluten, lactose, starch, egg, soy, onion, nightshade.
And you were in a wheelchair at some
Artificial
point.
sweetener and citrus intolerance, diarrhea, constipation, headaches, severe chronic fatigue, cold intolerance. Yeah, I was in a wheelchair. I needed a wheelchair to travel long distances. So when I went to the hospital, I had to use a wheelchair to get around this giant hospital because of all the hip and back pain. And one doctor told me I was the worst autoimmune patient he'd ever seen.
Wow.
So yeah, that was good to hear. And there was a lot of pointless medical tests that didn't really help. My gastroenterologist wanted to do a gastroscopy and an X-ray. Both were cancelled due to the lockdown. But I was glad because every time I saw a doctor, I got worse. They were just talking about making concerned noises. And I kind of got a nocebo effect out of it. So by that point, I wanted to do it on my own. Because it got to the point where I could only eat 1,000 calories a day of almond milk, mushrooms, and cucumbers for 4 months because I react terribly to everything else.
And how did you find Sarno? At some point here,
Well, yeah, I prayed. I promised Christ I would spread whatever message he wanted me to spread if I recovered. And then I got an Amazon recommendation for Sarno's book, Healing Back Pain.
that's just too much. It's like
Yeah, and so yeah, I bought the book, but I left it on my nightstand for 2 months. It took me 2 months to actually get around to reading it. But what persuaded me to read it was I had a dream that I was on a podcast holding up Sarno's book. I've got one here, The Mind Body Prescription.
you're in a dream, and here you are.
Yeah, dreams come true, right? I was saying, this is better than diet. This is the best approach in the dream. And now it's come true. And so basically, I read the book, and Sarno's concept that pain is and other symptoms that distract from repressed emotions really made sense to me. And he just said, basically, you've got to accept that pain is a distraction from the unconscious, and believe the information in his book and move normally, resume normal activities. And it was very reassuring. So, I talked with my mum about some repressed emotions and went on a walk, and I walked further and faster than I ever walked before while I was ill. And at that point, I knew that the Sarno method worked on whatever I had.
I want to ask you, did you start to walk and have sensations, but you were like calming yourself down? Like, what happened?
I was just talking about repressed emotions the whole time, and I wasn't even really thinking about the pain.
So you were distracting yourself by just acknowledging the repressed emotions.
Yeah, that's one way of looking at it. I was kind of defeating the distraction strategy by looking at the unconscious, is the way I see it.
Yeah.
I mean, that kind of nullified the whole point of all this pain and everything, which was to get me to look away from all these unpleasant emotions.
So you're like hanging out with your fear and your frustration. You were sort of like with your fear.
Not fear so much. I mean, I think fear is generally just another distraction from everything else in the unconscious. For me, it was grief and anger, really, because my dad died of ALS when I was 19. That was the main cause, the main emotional cause. So yeah, I mean, after that point, that was basically the turning point for me.
Wow.
I made gradual improvements. I walked a bit further and ate a bit more every week. And I got a bit of symptom imperative. My feet swelled up so much I could barely get my shoes on. But journaling worked on that and just deflated it completely back to normal.
Say level. That. I remember that you journaled and you watched your feet.
Yeah, it was like sticking a pin in a whoopee cushion, and inside 10 minutes of journaling about grief, the feet just deflated.
Let me just, for the audience, listeners, what makes you, what the fact that worked so efficiently, which is not the norm. What do you think was going on there?
Well, I think for one, I really believed in Sarno. I didn't have much doubt as soon as I read the book and started applying it myself. So I think that's the crucial factor here, because a lot of people can go to therapy and do the journaling, and they don't get much improvement in the physical symptoms unless they make the link between mind and body and really believe in it. So that should tell us really that belief is the primary factor here in recovery.
Yeah.
So yeah, I gradually improved. I reintroduced foods, and now I'm fully recovered. I can run a 10K in 40 minutes. I can eat anything humanly edible.
Amazing.
It's a complete recovery.
Amazing. And now you're a therapist. You wrote a book. You have a website.
I'm a coach. Yeah, and I'm an author. My website is robertensor.com. If anyone wants to.
Do you have a picture of the book? I've been posting it. Do you have a copy of the book?
Mind Solution. Here it is.
The Mind Solution.
My recovery memoir about how I did it, and there's also a lot of success stories from other people, including Ozzie.
Ozzie got in the book?
Yeah, he's in the book.
Yeah, I got the book.
Okay, so now, do you remember exactly when you called Rob, Ozzie, or when you saw the YouTube, like you were looking for ankylosing spondylitis and you saw it on the YouTube?
Yep.
And then, okay, so you go ahead. So you didn't call me, but you called Rob, which I'm really glad you did. But you called Rob, and tell us what happened.
Well, actually, my story, it was started in when I was in the United States. I was studying there. I had a sharp pain, and I went to the hospital or something, emergency room. They gave me a painkiller shot or something.
When you were in college.
I was in college, yeah. It was like 2002, I guess, yeah. So, okay, they sent me home, but the pain never healed. So I was always pain after that incident, So when I went back to my home country, I went to another doctor. And he sent me another doctor also. He sent me a rheumatologist,
Rheumatologist, yeah.
Rheumatologist. And he diagnosed me and said, that he took lots of blood tests, X-rays, MRIs, and he told me that I have a condition that called ankylosing spondylitis.
Wow.
And I don't know what the heck was that. So, I had no idea what it is. That was so important because after I get this diagnosis, I got so much worse,
Wow. There you go.
I wasn't that bad before that diagnosis, actually. So that was really...
Just hearing the diagnosis. Wow.
Yeah. Here, and also he was explaining that, okay, this is a lifelong disease. There is no cure about this. This is very important for me, He said that this is not curable. There is no cure for this. There are some medications help your symptoms, and exercises. They gave me some exercises. They offered me some, they said that I gotta swim and do yoga or something, but they said that there is no cure for this. And, I was always stubborn person, I was always look for something deeper. I was looking. And also,
so go ahead. So you're back in Turkey. You get this diagnosis. You're worse.
Yeah.
You're feeling discouraged because you're hearing all these things.
Of course. Yeah.
Then what happened next?
Then also there was one thing, especially in my condition, the pain always moving around my body. Sometimes I got pain in my hips, legs, arms, shoulders, different side of the back. And okay, so I tried to look at other things. many things. I mean, I tried acupuncture, energy therapies, starch-free diets, another special diet for arthritis,
Yeah.
nothing helped.
Wow.
Nothing helped at all,
Wow.
because I was always looking and searching on the internet about this kind of condition. They always say that, okay, there is no cure for this disease.
Yeah.
And this is very, really important because you are looking for something, but they said that there is no cure. And I love reading, I like to read a lot. And also I was like I tried to look some books, I went to the bookstore looking for, the health books, health section.
Yeah.
I saw that book, John Sanro's book, Mindbody
Wow.
Prescription, that Rob showed us
Wow.
earlier. And I read that, like, it's like, okay, this book is talking about me, especially,
Like in the
John,
personality, you saw yourself in the personality.
of course, there is one, they said the book, John Sanro said that there are some personality types, like like type A personality traits, I guess. He said that it's like perfectionism,
Yeah.
especially people pleasing and Buddhism, those kind of things.
Yes.
This is me. But after I read the book, I didn't have any cure. I don't have any, like, the symptoms got the same, they remain the same.
So you didn't see a change in your symptoms after you read the book, but you
exactly
resonated with the book.
And because there was nothing about, but there was like, there was nothing about my condition, in the book. They said,
Right.
okay, if you have a herniated discs, okay,
Right.
that would be a TMS. If you have like fibromyalgia, that would be a TMS. But and in my condition, in the blood test, they look for some gene factors like HLA-B27 or something.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
is
Something like
positive.
that, yeah.
This is positive for me. And my spine is fused, on the X-ray.
Mm.
So okay, you're in middle to nowhere, looking for something, but you get nothing. I was looking for something like Rob,
Yeah.
Actually, this story is a little bit easier for me. I mean, like if you compare the Rob story, because my symptoms actually get when I talk to Rob, when I work with the Rob,
Wait a second. No, I don't want you to skip a beat. Wait a
that
second. So
that
you read the book.
yeah.
You don't feel any better, but you feel some sense of like there's something here.
Mhm.
Then what happened?
Then nothing happened. So I was just trying to look for another thing, and I saw you on the YouTube channel.
So you found the YouTube channel. You saw Rob.
I saw the Rob.
How many months ago was that?
2 months ago, I guess. But I was looking for years.
Right.
June, I think, yeah.
I think it's 2 months ago, and there was a email address of the Rob in the comment section. He just wrote that. I contact him. There was a real something for me because okay, there's a guy here, same condition, and he said he's healed. That's what I was looking for, actually.
Right. So before that, you hadn't met anybody like on all the email, on all the YouTubes and all the things you read. You hadn't met anyone that had healed ankylosing spondylitis quite yet. But Rob also, you contacted him.
I contact him, so we just work together, and I would say that he's my hero, like
He's
big
your hero.
I mean, I really mean that. He's also my no. You don't have to thank him. So he's also very smart because I had a chance to look my buried or repressed emotions, many repressed emotions. Like I wasn't even aware of that. So he's very smart to discover that.
So when you trusted him, you felt something. Look, you were able to open up with Rob.
Yeah.
Because there was some trauma that, had maybe led to your body, developing an autoimmune disease. But you had felt some trust in Rob, and that's what a good therapist is, that you can feel safe and that you can open up. And so when you started to discover those deep feelings, just share a little bit. Was it fear, anger? Were you
especially rage? I mean, we found like very strong rage, anger, also guilt, fear, of course, because I mean, I had a chance to see other ankylosing spondylitis people in my home country here. I mean, when I went to hospital, one thing, very strange for me, because the people that had the same condition have always problem with the authority figure. You know what I'm saying? Authority figure.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is very common for us. We just talk that, we work that, we journal that, we like did some work, like it wasn't like a meditation, but it's like imagination, visual imagination or something. It really helped me, It was just amazing, actually.
You would visualize yourself not being in pain, or you visualize yourself.
No, I visualize. Actually, the thing is, he just taught me how to find and express these repressed things, repressed emotions, unwanted emotions, that we bury deep inside us. So, it's like, it was a big improvement, and, right now, I can walk 3 or 4 kilometers without even getting tired.
Wow.
Before that, I wasn't able to move or like walk 50 minutes, 50 meters.
So how many months did you meet with Rob? Weekly?
Very low, just 2 weeks or 3 weeks. Like we get the
whole thing was done in under a month.
Yeah.
So in under a month, you began to journal, visualize, understand your personality, accept your rage, get clear about your other traits that.
And also believe that it could be done, I would say.
So you also had no doubt. Like you met Rob and you're like, I have no doubt.
No, it's like, but actually he was really smart for that, because he's really smart enough to pick my emotions, buried emotions. He discovered that. So, I mean, that's why it just happened so fast, I guess.
Well, listen, the question is people are doing what you're doing. They're meeting therapy, they're getting to their emotions, but there's something that happened with you. There was an aha moment or a brainwave, something connected, because your brain got it.
And also, I think also trust, I guess,
trust in this process. Trust in your therapist, belief in your body that it wasn't punishing you. And can I say, would you agree, Ozzie, that you also became less fearful of it? Is it possible you became less fearful? Because people are so scared of the pain, of the sensation, that this pain-fear cycle begins to run them. We talked about that last week with Dan Buglio, the fear-pain cycle. So what happened emotionally? Can you share what happened emotionally? Did you became less rageful? You became more loving? Like, can you expand on that a bit?
Okay, let me talk about this. So I was, before that, I was like very aggressive person, I was like just angry very quickly, like, especially when I drive a car. I mean, I drive a car a lot, so.
Yeah.
And right now, what's happening? So if somebody cuts me off, okay, I feel that more easygoing, like, but this thing is happening automatically, I don't do anything. So it's so amazing, you know what?
Nothing's happening automatically. I'm sorry.
That was displaced rage. It was displaced from the true source of the rage.
You were aware. You took a split second, became aware, and you're like, I'm not going to react. I'm going to respond.
And I'm so surprised. I feel so, okay, what the hell I'm doing here? I had to be so aggressive. So what's going on? So
what's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, I don't know.
I want to know what's going on.
I think we found like the rage. I mean, the buried and we found them, we expressed them, and it's done, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, all your problems, including the road rage, I just conceived of as being a distraction from this repressed rage. You go to the rage, you realize that, you have the recognition, combined with the belief that you came to me with, mostly, and there you go. That's it. One thing I would say, though, is that Ozzie was mostly confident that he could do it from day one.
See, that's it.
No.
That's it also.
I just gave him a confidence boost that he needed through my example and words. Because there was a whole prehistory there of decades of suffering and determination and persistence. And I mean, you'd had enough, right?
Yeah.
You'd had enough. You weren't willing to accept that you were going to be sick forever.
Yeah.
You know, that's part of it. Like, you didn't negotiate. Like, you were negotiating for many years since college with this pain, and then you went to the doctors and you were like, but once you figured this out, that there was a mind-body component, there was no discussion. There was no interaction of like, yeah, maybe, no. There was like, I'm in control.
No doubt.
And so Rob gave you that confidence, but you had it in you.
Yeah. No, actually, it's like hearing that this disease can be cured. That's it. And I trusted him, and he showed me that, that like.
So let me ask you on the record, there are people who meet tons of people that get cured or recover from the same symptoms, and they're not recovering. What is it about those particular people?
I think this is something about the unconscious, because
our conscience
are believing that, okay, this is not curable because they have something in their brain. This is not curable. I think that's what get them down, I guess.
Yeah, I think if I can just chip in, I think behind pretty much all mind-body problems is and all doubt in the mind-body process is the fear of is repression. And I think that at the root of all repression is the fear of being disliked and the desire to be liked. And this leads to repression of everything undesirable, socially undesirable, especially anger. And then that causes TMS. And Ozzie and I are nonconformists.
Are what? You and Ozzie are
nonconformists.
Nonconformist.
Yeah, like we don't really respect authority figures that much. So when we got diagnosed, I got provisionally diagnosed, he got diagnosed, we didn't really accept it. And also,
yeah.
So it was about your relationship with the medical community, with the doctor, and kind of not giving the power to the authority. That's what you meant to say. I think I didn't understand it. That's interesting, because we do give our power away to the doctor.
Also, if you're less of a conformist, you are going to be more likely to, admit to socially undesirable emotions like anger. You're going to be more able to express that and realize what it's doing to your body. Because there's a lot of shame about, having a psychosomatic illness, I guess. Unnecessarily.
Very, very interesting. Very, very interesting. And, again, you had your pain for how many years, Rob? Did you have your symptoms?
I was pretty bad for about 9 or 10 years, but it was extremely awful for 18 months.
Wow. And then, Ozzie, you were in college, and how many years ago was that when this started?
Since 2002.
Wow. That's
20
years, 21 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
I wish I knew this before.
Of course, but you weren't, if you hadn't gotten, and you'd think you'd gotten broken down and worn out and just so hopeless. And this is just angelic, the way this whole thing happened. I mean, this is not, look, I just want to keep encouraging people that not to give up, because even if your story is not like Rob's or Ozzie's, autoimmune condition, autoimmune symptoms and pain is not normal. Your body can heal it. Your body brought it to you, and your body can heal it. Your body learned pain, it can unlearn pain. So Ozzie, will you share a little bit more detail about some of the things you did, like you journaled every day? It doesn't matter. You journaled when you visualized. What did you visualize? Did you exercise differently? Did you eat differently? Just share a little bit of what, besides talking to Rob and kind of getting it, not doubting, believing in yourself, which to me, the thoughts trump everything. But what are the things that you do, or did Rob recommend to support this process?
Actually, in his book, I know we also talked about this a lot. He's talking about the deceiver archetype. The archetype about Carl Jung's.
Yeah.
If you take when I get flare-ups or slight pain or something, I always thinking, okay, deceiver archetype is on duty.
What's the name of the archetype?
Deceiver.
Deceiver.
Deceiver archetype is on
Deceiver.
duty. Yeah, he's doing his job. This is the way I communicate my symptoms to her. I change that. Right now, I don't like how can I say this? So symptoms are scary. It's not scary right now for me. Like if I get a slight flare up or something, okay, bring it on. Come on, give me more.
Right.
I need more pain. Okay, I said that, and like 2 or 3 minutes, the pain slows down and it disappears.
Yeah. So explain that more. So you kind of challenge the symptom in a way that's like, you can't hurt me.
Of course.
He
can hurt me. It's okay. No problem. He can hurt me. No problem.
But you won't get hurt.
No.
There's no fear.
Fear. Right. And Dr. Schubiner talks about, how we can bully the brain. We can say, brain, enough. That's what I think you did. Brain, that's it. You can't hurt me. Doesn't matter what you do. You got your dial turned up, brain. I'm not reacting to your dial. You want to protect me? Okay, but I got this. Like, this is what I'm seeing. You really understood your brain. Did you think your brain had anything to do with your pain when you were having pain?
I don't know, but so we did I think the crucial thing is here, fear of the pain, fear of the symptoms, I guess. Yeah. Or fear of the disease. This is not curable, and it makes lots of fear. That creates lots of fear in your brain, and that creates pain, I guess. That's what I experienced.
Wow.
I read John Sarno books like 4 or maybe 5 years ago. I tried those exercises in the book. Didn't help me. But right now, it's like changing the way of communication of symptoms or disease, or even with myself. If I get any flare-ups, I don't care. If the symptoms create make me disabled or something, it's okay with me. It's okay for me. No problem.
Yeah.
No problem. And that gives you power and freedom.
So you are, what's the word I want to use? You're not disconnected from your pain, but you're not reacting. You're completely not reacting.
Yeah, I'm reacting.
Well, you are reacting
in a good way.
Yeah, of course. You're responding.
Yeah.
You're responding. You're there for you.
No, because it's really important, because there is a difference, reacting or not reacting. If you are not reacting or you're suppressing, sometimes brain gets that.
Wow. And how does it feel to be so in touch with your feelings and to feel so connected to your personality? Like, how does that feel for you now?
Well, it's okay, but I realize that, dealing with pain is easier than dealing with your emotions, I guess.
Wow. That's got to be the book. I think I'll write that book.
That's why we get symptoms.
What do you think about that, Rob?
You just thought about the pain, the emotions instead of the pain, basically, and treated the pain as a kind of distraction just to be ignored. Is that right?
So this is a tool. This is a tool.
Yeah, I mean, this is an elaboration of Sarno's idea of pain's a distraction from repressed emotions. The deceiver basically is an inner unconscious personality that distracts from the unconscious through pain, fear, symptoms, even desire. And I mean, the key is to just tune out of that, basically, and ignore it.
Well, you can ignore, but or you accept that there's this deceiver.
The key is just not to get afraid of it.
Right.
Not to buy into it. You know, I mean, that's the common denominator across all these mind-body philosophies. You know, there's the Alan Gordon approach and there's the Sarno approach. So the one thing they both have in common is you're basically not panicking, you're not spiraling, you're not afraid of the pain.
Right. Well, you're and you know, or that you understand that there's not a real threat, so you understand and you're bringing safety and calm, and I think that's what you taught Ozzie to do, was to bring calm and safety. So by him being like, okay, pain, you want to come? It's okay. Like that's not so much like, okay, pain, you're okay, but that was enough for his body to feel safe and turn off the threat.
Yeah. I think the genius of Sarno is that so many people who are sick just really want to be told that they're okay. And Sarno kind of did that, you know. And also, I just want to highlight that most of Sarno's patients didn't really need to journal or do therapy. They healed by believing the knowledge he gave them and ignoring pain and resuming normal activities as if there was nothing wrong with them.
Yeah.
And the knowledge it can be done by believing it can be done is a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why his books heal. He's saying you don't have to do anything except believe the words he's giving you.
It's so
that's
powerful that you're saying that. It's like,
I mean, if you do need to go and do journaling, I mean, it's there as a very useful tool, but it's not always necessary. In fact,
I think it's like I call it a toolbox. Sometimes you have to journal to get what you need to know. Sometimes you have to negotiate with your brain, or not negotiate, have a conversation. Sometimes you have to have coffee with your anger. Sometimes you have to be in the car noticing that you're not reacting, but that you're responding. Even though you're unhappy that guy just about hit your car, you're still responding. Hey, you know, like I just found out I got a ticket like months ago. I don't know what I was doing. I was like in a lane here in Israel. You're in a lane where the buses need to be. And I think the times, I don't know. And I thought to myself, it's a lot of money, but you know what? I didn't get in an accident. Like I tried to look it, like I tried to make some sense of this large amount of money for a ticket I didn't even know. As my first one in this country in 14 years, but I'm still pretty pissed. But I thought, okay, it was like we say, like it happened because something worse didn't happen. So it's kind of the same thing of like understanding. Well, look, I'm stuck with this. I got to pay the ticket, so why make it bad?
No matter what life throws at you, if you remain unmoved, you become the mover.
I love this. Okay, say that again.
No matter what life throws at you, if you remain unmoved, you are the mover.
If you remain unmoved, you are the mover. I love it. Exactly.
Every act of resistance to fear brings a reward.
I love it.
You know, if you're going through your darkest moment right now, then basically just if you can just keep resisting and not buy into it and keep going forward.
So if you're resisting and not buying into it, you're moving somewhere else. But if you're resisting and you're stuck.
Well, I mean, for me, the whole thing was a kind of a war for me. It was a war for my attention. So the way I see it.
A war, you said? A war?
Attention, yeah. For me, pain is like an itch, and the more you scratch, the worse it gets. So I just stopped scratching, no matter how bad it itched.
Yeah.
And I think Ozzie did something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
And not being afraid of it is part of that.
This is really, really an interesting conversation that I didn't expect to have with you guys, but it really is about the fear of the pain.
Yeah.
And like we say, accept the pain, but you guys did something so clear.
I mean, if you're going to accept it temporarily and know that it's going to go away eventually, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, if you accept it, the pain, like
you accept it long term, it's just going to keep going forever. I mean, you have to believe that you can get rid of it eventually.
So you kind of folded into the resistance. It's the name of a book, like Reach Into the Resistance. It's by Dr. Alan Abbas about the ISCDP work that Rose did. Like you folded into the resistance also. That's what you were saying about the moving.
The point about remaining unmoved is just like, don't overreact, don't get afraid when you've got a symptom, you know, just remain unmoved.
But that's reaching into the resistance, isn't it also?
Yeah. If that's one way of putting it. Yeah.
What do you think, Ozzie?
Well, it's like, our brains, I mean, especially these conditions, people of this condition, they are very sensitive about fearful things, even if the small things, I guess. So what we did was actually like, okay, just feel your emotions, be okay with that, and it's gone. But if still there, okay, you're doing something wrong. If the rage is still there, so you are still something wrong. You are still repressing or something. So I think the coaching, TMS coaching, is something like finding these things. It's very important because Roper is very, very good at this.
Yeah, and I just want to say on top of that, if the success of what happened to you, I believe, was because, look, your symptoms did get less, and lots of people's don't. And at that point, I think you would have still been on your journey, even if your symptoms didn't go away so quickly. You would have trusted this process. You would have like forgiven yourself. You would have stayed with Rob. Like, what I want to say to the audience is that we fall and get up. We fall and get up. We don't always fall and stay up. Like right now, you're not falling because you're not in pain, but I think that you didn't make no pain the goal. That's what I want to say.
That's actually firstly that was my main idea. But after we worked at, okay, pain is not important for me. The more important is right now emotions.
That's it. You see, and that's what you're focused on.
Yeah.
And this is not an easy thing, Ozzie.
Of course, it wasn't.
Focus on your emotions.
Really well, yeah.
So it doesn't mean we're emotional people or we're sensitive or not sensitive. You're just you're recognizing and witnessing and observing and being with your true self. Your unconscious mind and conscious mind are connected.
Yeah.
And there's no conflict.
Yeah.
There might be conflict out of here when you're driving, but there's no conflict in your body. And we're back to the doubt. Like you're trusting, and Dan Ratner's a psychologist who's got a big program called Crushing Doubt. Because for him, that's a biggie, and it is for the majority of us, crushing doubt. Like you look, I don't really like the word crushing doubt, but it is kind of like, okay, doubt. Thank you, brain, for protecting me. But I got this. Like there was just like no wiggle room there.
Yeah, I think really belief or lack of doubt is the common denominator in all healing. So whatever method people use to heal, whether it's diets, medication, surgery, meditation, herbs, journaling, they're using belief because they believe in their method.
Wow.
And I really do think belief is the primary factor here.
Wow.
I think also the first healing happened, when I saw the Rob on the YouTube in your channel. Okay, this is curable, and that's it for me. That the journey begins.
That was enough. That was enough for you.
The power of the success stories, and that's why Sarno's books are so brilliant. I mean, it's part of the Sarno magic how people get cured just by reading it, because they see the success stories of someone who had a similar condition to them, and it's just like, oh.
But that's not fair. Because, I'm sorry to interrupt. I need to interrupt.
Oh, it's just like if he or she did it, then with similar symptoms, then I can do it too.
Okay, but it's not fair because people like, I want to know if you've helped someone with these symptoms. I'm like, if the symptoms don't matter.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, now from my perspective, now I don't really care too much about diagnosis. But it does matter a lot to sick people. You know, sick people become identified with the diagnosis.
I know.
It becomes a self-perpetuating nocebo.
But the bigger picture is my body's under threat. There's a big deceiver. My body's reacting to some threat. I mean, this is the bigger picture. Wow. Anything else you guys want to share?
Well, go ahead, Rob.
I just want to say basically that, you know, the real fundamental root cause of all this, I would say, is that life is like an old-fashioned school where failure to learn is met with corporal punishment. You know, but if you start to learn, then the teacher will spare you the rod, will spare you the beating occasionally, and learn enough lessons and you get to graduate.
You should be a writer. You should write a book.
He's a writer.
Yeah.
That's great.
And, another quote I just wanted to mention is from the Gospel of Thomas. If two make peace in their one house, they'll say, with faith to the mountain, move, and it will move.
Wow.
Just underlining the importance of belief there.
Yeah.
In healing.
Well, we know that belief is chemical. You know, I'm reading about the placebo, and it's just blows my mind.
Oh yeah.
The placebo and the nocebo, which you mentioned, it's just another incredible tool.
Yeah, and here's the thing. I mean, wherever there's a placebo, there will be a nocebo. So, like, if you take me as an example with my diet, I needed to avoid certain foods to feel better. But then if I had those, so that was a placebo. And then if I had those foods, I would feel worse. So that was the nocebo.
Wow.
So the only thing that wasn't really a placebo for me at the end of the day was the certain knowledge that the power to heal lies within, and in belief in particular. And you know, if you understand that, just knowing that all you need to do is believe, can in itself be its own cure.
So it's just fascinating. I want to ask you, Ozzie.
Yeah.
Because it's a very good insight and a very good like take-home tool to have people move physically, biomechanically to move into their discomfort. Mm-hmm. Not even think for a minute that they shouldn't move or walk or exercise. You know, once they get the okay because no doctor, I don't want to go there with the doctor and saying, because probably doctor said, don't exercise, don't walk.
Not really, but I couldn't do it anyway. It was kind of obvious to everyone at that point.
But you said, I just went and walked. I went and walked longer than I ever did. Like at what point can a person I mentioned this in my work, but because I want them to be with the discomfort, because it's their feelings. I want them to go ahead and, you know, in the face of discomfort, stay there and bring safety to your body. So go to the treadmill, go to the pool.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words. So if you're just showing the deceiver that you're not afraid, you'll either back off or give up, you know? Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's where exercise really is a crucial tool.
Yeah, this is a Fred Amir was on, who has this program called Rapid Recovery. This is his big thing. Just go and do it. Go and move. Just move.
Yep.
It's gradually. You don't have to go run a marathon, but go and move and go prove to your body. So go ahead. Okay, so I go and I move and I feel discomfort. I feel and I get scared. What do I do?
I would suggest just ignore it and keep going, and recognize it's a distraction.
What do you say, Dr. Ozzie?
Well, I would say actually, like, be okay with the repressed emotion also first. First of all, that's the main thing. After that, so it's just going easily after that. If you get your emotions, if you feel your emotions, if you're okay with those, so I mean, dealing with your symptoms is easier.
Yeah.
Much more easier than that. So, and also, And also, like, the crucial thing is here is also belief. Because what got me down before, the doctor said the ankylosing spondylitis is not curable. It's a lifelong disease. If I always keep believing these things, you know, and that's what got me down.
Wow.
I think we need to change the communicate of ourselves, you know, and we need to be careful when we read, when we, you know, sometimes you accept things, you know, like from doctors, from any other authority figures. So just we have to be careful that before we agree with them, I guess.
Yeah, and I think the fact that me and Ozzie are non-conformists really was crucial in the fact that we recovered. I mean, we don't just automatically believe what we're told by authority figures.
This is a key.
And, you know, yeah, another thing is, really, I do think at the root of the repression is a fear of being disliked. And you know, I don't particularly care that much about that. I never have. And I think
Me neither.
you could say the same about Ozzie, yeah. So I think that is a key personality factor here. Because, you know, with the perfectionist personality type that Sano identified as a TMS prone personality, if you're trying to be perfect, you're trying to be perfect to impress other people, generally speaking. So it's a real desire to be liked that is actually at the core of TMS. And, you know, if you can be flexible enough to change that, then you can see some very big changes happening in the body.
Key. So we're talking about a relationship with yourself, liking yourself in spite of whatever anyone says, trusting yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think that you both got inflammatory symptoms and this condition because you didn't like yourself?
Actually, I think we feel. I mean, in my condition, I feel sometimes very insecure in myself. You know, because that's why you get perfectionist, I guess. You
Very
feel
good.
insecure and you just
Yeah.
seeking approval, you know, from everyone.
Yeah,
And
and I think that goes back to a kind of chronically stressful childhood environment when maybe there wasn't enough, we didn't get enough approval in childhood.
Attention, yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's kind of the genesis of the perfectionist personality.
unfortunately,
So, you know, if you can recognize these things about yourself, you can make great progress.
Well, that's about the trauma that a lot of us go big T's and little T's, whether
Yeah,
our parents did the best they could, but we grew up in living in survival mode and needing to get something outside of ourselves. And then we never win that way. We'll always be searching.
and yeah, Ozzie's case demonstrates that if you're going to if you don't necessarily have to, but if you're going to go down the journaling or therapy route, then I do believe it's generally old trauma from years ago that generates the most rage and the most emotions.
Wow.
And it can therefore be the most therapeutic to express.
Wow. There's an
Not
insight.
always the case, but, you know,
Right.
as a rule of thumb, yeah.
Right. Amazing. Really amazing. So I'm blessed beyond words to be sitting here with you two. And of course, if I can ever help you in any way, I'm here for you. And you guys can come on the show once a month and talk about this because I love it. And there's just a box, a treasure. That's what I said, a treasure, like Jeannie's bottle. There's like enormous treasures here and tools. So I'm going to share it on YouTube. I'll send it to you guys. Anybody out there listening, if you don't want to come live right now, we're going to wind up in a few minutes. You can contact Rob. He's on Facebook. I'm going to put up his website. He's got a book. Ozzie's not a coach, but you're a doctor. You're all both doctors. I'm giving you your doctorate right now because you guys just blow my mind.
Thank you.
Amazing. You've changed.
You are amazing, actually. You are let me finish this.
Yeah.
You are amazing because that's how I met the Rob, because of you. You
Yes.
know, so that's very important. I mean, I'm really appreciated what you did. So if I have no pain right now because of you, and first you and second Rob,
Wow.
thank you.
Yeah,
Wow.
this would never
And
have happened
this is
without the
priceless.
Wow.
This is
Well,
priceless.
Everyone knows how blessed I feel doing this, and that I always say I'm healing you and healing myself, because we're all in this for lots of reasons. And I get a lot of enormous joy, and thank you. I appreciate all that attention. I love it. You can say it again, Ozzie.
Thank you.
Anyway, like I said, you guys want to come back, we can do a follow-up in a few months. And I'm just really happy to meet you both.
Sure,
Yeah.
why not? Why not?
Yeah, sure. I'm up for it.
Okay, we'll meet again.
Before
Yeah,
we wrap
Rob?
up, can I just mention, because it's quite relevant. I've written another novel lately about a man with ankylosing spondylitis who heals his symptoms through mind-body methods, through releasing repressed emotions.
Yeah.
Here it is, The Toll of Troy.
The Toll. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wait, that's your book?
Yeah, that's another book.
Oh,
I've got too many. I mean,
it's a fiction. Oh, it's a fiction that you wrote.
It's a novel about a man with ankylosing spondylitis.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, it's kind of like a
love
TMS
it.
novel, if you will.
So now you have 2 books.
I've got 7 on Amazon. The problem, I write them quickly. The problem is promoting them. You know.
Uh-huh.
So I've got a massive logjam piling up.
Yeah, well, maybe you need to hook up with Ozzie and do some business.
Why not? But actually, you got to start to have like specialties, and I think he's got everything he needs. I mean, I'm talking about Rob, so he's perfect about this, and I think like he has to do it.
Yeah, listen, it's amazing that you have all these books, and maybe this could be the turning point for you to get people to read them and to look at the book.
Yeah,
the fact is,
of the Mind Solution, sales have gone up today thanks to your promotional efforts.
Beautiful. It sounds like an amazing book. I'm going to get a copy, and I'm wishing you guys a wonderful night, and we'll be in touch.
Yeah.
So blessings to the people that came into the audience and are listening.
Okay.
I think this is number 170. I got to keep 7 broadcasts close to 180 since the beginning of COVID.
You're prolific too.
Yeah.
Say this again.
You're prolific too. Once a week.
Oh. And what was the word you said?
Prolific.
Prolific?
Just means you're very productive, basically.
Oh wow, yeah. I'm a little bit. This is my release of tension. I don't have anxiety and tension that hurts me because I keep moving it. I keep moving. There's that moving.
Yeah.
Bless it. I keep folding into the resistance.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
But it's almost 180 shows, and
wow.
There's something I wanted to say about you about your book. Anyway, so I'll text you. But have a wonderful evening, gentlemen. This is TMS Roundtable, and we're going to say goodnight. And I'm just one happy camper. Sleep well. Blessings to all of you out there. And we'll meet again soon. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you so much.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, 1 second. It's going to stop streaming.